Fantastic delivery there from Benga Borowa. Which way Nigeria? We keep wondering. Well, let's go straight to the front pages of the newspapers to find out which way Nigeria is going. We're going to start with the very first paper, but before then, we do have our in-house analyst, public affairs analyst, Theophilus Akatugba, joins us live. Good to see you on a Monday morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, your name inspires power and knowledge. You know, your name, Theophilus, it reminds me of a Roman tribune. Yes, from the wisdom of those that ran the Roman Empire. Yes.
Theophilus Akatugba!
Wow, I didn't have quite 3 months.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Anyway, happy to have
first
you.
paper.
Yeah.
There's a lot I know you really want to touch on, but let's see if we have it on the front pages of the first newspaper we're going to look at. After that, we'll go straight into it. The insecurity as well.
Okay, Daily Independent.
Daily Independent. That's the first paper we're looking at. But let's see if we have that. I would have loved us to go to.
Let's start with the New Telegraph.
Let's go to New Telegraph. Let's go to New Telegraph before we put that up. I have it here. Let's see if we can shoot that up. ISWAP abducts 12 female farmers in Borno. That's the latest. That's a new one. It just happened while we're talking about the other ones.
Maybe you should read the rider to that as well.
Yeah.
Because while they're abducting 12 farmers in Borno.
As 50 St. Mary school pupils escape, reunite with families. 253 children left, if you minus that from the ones that have escaped. So that's a total of 353, okay, if we put it that way. 12 teachers still in captivity. Tinubu announces rescue of 38 kidnapped Kwara worshippers. 51 Niger school children. Mass abductions. Nigeria drifting towards state failure, according to Labour Party. Pope demands release of abducted pupils and others. We're going to focus solely on this insecurity story, and we'll look at the children who are out of school as well. Our reporters are around the corner. But before you respond, Mr. Akatugba, let's go to Suleja right now as we join our reporter who's on ground. Sagir Ibrahim joins us live this morning. Good morning to you, Sagir.
Good morning, Joe. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear. Please go ahead with your report.
Yes, indeed. So I'm at the Federal Government Academy in Suleja, Niger State, just behind me, and I heard you can see the gate right there. I had a place there earlier just to confirm whether there's any activity going on, and I was reliably informed. In fact, I spoke with the Vice Principal of Special Duties, and he confirmed to me that following the government's directive on Friday, that 41 unity schools be temporarily shut down. This school, the Federal Government Academy Suleja, is one of those 41 schools that were directed to temporarily shut down until the situation calms. So at the moment, they vacated on Saturday, the 22nd of November, and at the moment, all of the wards have since left school. All of the students have since left school, and the school is empty at the moment. Of course, you can see the nature of the road, but then again, the road is not the focus of the conversation. We will focus on that much later, but at the moment, students have left the school, and the school is currently empty. Back to you in the studio.
All right, students have left school. The school is completely empty.
Now, so quickly, before we let you go, what's the security situation like in Niger State and also in the outskirts of Abuja and Nasarawa?
Well, Benga, Niger State has had its own share of insecurity issues, especially considering when you go around areas like Shiroro local government, where there has been cases of terrorist attacks happen, and of course in Papiri, Niger State, where the students were unfortunately abducted. But those areas are quite far away from this area. This is Suleja, Niger State. It's just some few kilometers away from the city center. I think 40-45 minutes, roughly 1 hour, save for the fact that there's heavy construction going on around the Zuba axis, which delays traffic by another 45 minutes. So here is very close to the Federal Capital Territory, as the case may be. There's been no concern so much about, of course, security issues, save for the fact that, of course, the abductions seem to be targeted at schools around and across the country. Talk about the presence of security around this vicinity. I've honestly not cited any security personnel aside from the security guards that are stationed, at the security post at the gate of the school. That's the security situation, for these areas and for these vicinities. And of course, we've heard and seen the directives by the president withdrawing police personnel from GIP hopefully those police personnel will be deployed to areas such as this to ensure, that the vicinity is safe, aside the fact that children stay home temporarily to ensure a proper security strategy to guarantee their safety is put in place. So we can see our children resume. I mean, it's already in the news that over 20 million children are out of school. Having a situation such as this only complicates such issues. Back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you so much, Sergey Ibrahim. Let's go back to the studio with Theophilus Akatugba on the analysis. Front pages, security, insecurity, mass abductions here and there.
Yes. We've seen that just within a week, we've had several attacks targeted at schools and religious centers. It tells a certain, it's either a certain, wave of attack, to conflagrate our country once again after the kind of quietness we have witnessed. Even those people said that many kidnaps were underreported. But what we are seeing now is very worrisome and quite disturbing that within just 1 week we have these happenings. And now we just saw ISWAP taking 12 farmers.
Female farmers.
And then the other one targeted at Catholic school, and then the other. So if you look at the trend, it's just trying to send a message that there's still a lot of work to be done, and that the government must not be dragged into the politics of kidnapping and banditry, because there is politics of it. The government should focus on solution. The government should not get involved in bantering words with the opposition. They can do the politics, but they should focus on nipping the situation in the bud. And we should not criticize government if schools are closed, because a drastic disease calls for a drastic measure, and the government need to take action. It's not just about protecting the schools, it's about taking firm action to ensure that the sugar that attracts the ant is removed instead of trying to kill the ants.
Now, Mr. Akatugba,
so this is why they took that decision. So I don't think our worry and bother should be much about schools that are closing, but the fact that the government need to respond to this sudden surge in kidnapping that is embarrassing to our nation.
And talking about this sudden surge and uptick in insecurity, some analysts have suggested that it may be linked to President Trump designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern, that ever since he released that post on his Truth Social, we've seen this uptick. Do you think there's any link to it? Or it's just
there's no direct link.
Talk?
No, not a direct link, but just as the statement of world leaders can affect confidence, affect reactions even in the stock market and everywhere, his statement could also drive those who thought that, okay, that narrative can be accentuated. And that's why when they kidnap Catholic school, that can drive a message that Christians are under siege. The first one was Muslim students. Just to say, another set of people will say, we want to let you know that even Muslims are victims. So you are dealing with a multifaceted criminal systems. You have ISWAP, you have Boko Haram, you have headsmen, you have bandits. We just have what you call a complete breakdown of social order in the north for so long that is now beginning to haunt our country. There is a tolerance of criminality in that part of the world. It's either a tolerance or a certain lackadaisical, behavior towards conflicting a criminal element or criminal gangs. Because the manner in which they operate...
But are you not making the mistake of using a brush to sweep an entire region? Because when you take the commentary of 1 or 3 or 4 politically exposed individuals and you use that as a basis to label the region, I think it's unfair. Most of the victims of these violent extremist groups are also the people in that region. So why would you say that's because sort of sympathetic to
they flourish because of tolerance. They flourish because they are condoned. They flourish because they are seen as our children that should be rehabilitated. Let's be frank. In the Niger Delta, militants were coming to public events and introducing themselves confidently. I am a militant, and they will be hailed. In fact, people moved towards. So militants at that time were also tolerated in their regions. the Odua People's Congress also were tolerated in the Southwest. You don't have this kind of criminality, festering on for this long without tolerance. I've been to the North. The way we feel about insecurity in the South is not the way they see it. In fact, they don't feel as scared as we are. In fact, security measures are lowered. The banks are open. I was shocked that you have this level of insecurity and you allow vehicles to flow. And I tell you, we don't know what you are talking about. They don't feel the way we feel. They are not, because they are sentimental towards a lot of these things. I have a secondary school head teacher who was a member of my board in an NGO. He told me that some of his students became Boko Haram. They openly told him they were no longer coming to school. And some of them were very good in football. They were even top players in the team. They said even football was haram. And that such a boy, when they left, recruited other students, and they come to attack his school, and they will call him that we are coming. Take away yourself and anyone you love, and then he will evacuate the Christian teachers, and that attack will take place.
Okay. Let's talk about the way in which these girls, some of them have returned. It feels like we're having conflicting reports. Okay. We're hearing that 50 of these over 300 students that were kidnapped escaped. We're hearing also that we have been able to rescue them. Is it important that we get a clear picture of what happened? Yes, we are grateful, we are glad that the girls are reunited with their parents, but praying for the safe return of the rest that are in captivity. But how important is it for us to get a clear narrative as to what happened in terms of did they escape or were they rescued by our armed forces? Was there ransom paid? Were there arrests being made? Were there terrorists that were neutralized?
Like I said, Nigeria is a big trading center. That's why you don't get the truth all the time. Now somebody's trying to gain out of this. So the most probable is that they escaped, because to manage 300 people could be Herculean, and these ones could have been abandoned on the course of movement, and they found their way out. Because if it was a rescue, you should have rescued a lot more and be able to tell us now we found where they are. So I see it as more of escape, because the church would not have told a lie. The church said they escaped.
All right.
And I believe what the church said.
All right, let's get a call from Mohammed. I still have a second part to that question. Mohammed is calling from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Mohammed. Please go ahead with your comment.
Good morning, ma. My name is Elijah Mohammed.
Yes, please. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead with your comment.
I think we need to put the right thing at the right time, and we don't need to play with our lives as people. When you bring in an architect to carry out survey of yourself as a person, you know that you're embarked on a suicide mission. How could a country like Nigeria will have a defense minister that has no military background, no security experience, an ordinary class teacher, and we think we'll get it right? I think we are just trying to play politics. We don't reward politicians with positions of security. Now look at the criminal element attacking left, right, and center. You know their modus operandi. There are no enemies on Okada. Why wouldn't we, as a people, stand authority and say we are banning the use of motorcycles from social access to social access for a period of 1 year? We're going to switch off the network service of all those areas. Then those that we are using as human shares, we'll give them 24 to 48 hours. And if you know you're not part of those criminal elements, leave those shows. And after a period of time, you know how to go after them. And every day, I think, because the insecurity has become a business, nobody is ready to do the needful. And even the military are not willing to go and exercise their full force, because they know when it happens to you, that's the end of it. So I think our body, Mr. President, to do the right thing by being a minor capital adjustment. We don't say we should not reward people. And you don't reward people by giving a mere, maybe, organizer the job of an architect. You give a mechanic the job of an electrician. You know, we have problems every day. So I think Nigerians is going through a lot of insecurity that we deliberately cause it on ourselves. So I think I will urge the president to do the needful. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, for joining us. We'll come back to reference that, but let's quickly connect with Bernard Akede this morning. Good morning, Bernard. Where are you? And can you bring us your report as well? All right. We'll come back to connect with Bernard. You heard Mohammed. Mohammed said he's obviously criticizing Bello Matawale's credentials, saying that he had no background in defense, he's a teacher, and you're bringing him, and he's suggesting a cabinet reshuffle. Do you agree with that? But before you respond to that, the second part of the question I was asking you earlier is, you say that it is most likely probable that they escaped as opposed to them being rescued. Yeah. How important is it for the government to tell the truth of the current situation? So respond to that, then you can speak on...
In fact, it's critically important. If a government lies about a situation, then they will become embarrassed when the truth comes out. Any government that wants to be accountable and solve a problem must be upfront with the truth. In this case, the government, the military, the government might not have owned it, made a declaration that they were rescued. I don't know if it's... I think the security apparatus and systems could be trying to gain some credit, and that is what they do. We've seen where police will say somebody escaped from Kenya, they say they captured or rescued the person. So for me, I stay with the statement of the Catholic. After all, they've interviewed their people. They said they've quietly reunited with their families.
No, the President Tinubu says, I'm equally happy that 51 out of the missing students of the Catholic school in Niger State have been recovered. Yes,
the word recovered is very safe for him. It's a safe word. Okay. He didn't say rescue or escape. Recover means we got them back. However, they came back. President has stated.
But doesn't that have any? Anyway, let's go to Bernard Akede. There's a question I have to ask as we wrap this. Bernard, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. It's good to hear from you.
All right. Go ahead. Where are you? We can see you in front of a school. Give us a report.
All right, so I'm currently in Kwara State, and this behind me is the Federal Government College in Ilorin. Like many other federal government colleges across the country, particularly in the northern part, this one too is shut down. It's a mixed secondary school, boys and girls. All of them have left the school. Information reaching us had it that by Friday, that was when the information reached the principal of the school and the authority of the school, basically. And then by Saturday morning, most of the students had evacuated the school and the members of staff as well. But not just only, Federal Government College in Loring here. There's another Federal Government College in Kwara State. That's in Umuaron. That's some 2 hours maybe or more from where we are. That school equally has been evacuated right now. So those two Federal Government colleges in Kwara State, they do not have students in them. Very scanty staff population you would find in the school at the moment. However, if you don't have any business here, you will not be granted access into the school, just like how we have not been granted access into the school. Again, this talks about how insecurity has affected education in the country. And just to wrap that up, remember that we went to the village that was attacked. That's Eruku village. There are 4 schools, there are 6 schools in that village, 2 secondary schools, 4 primary schools. Since the attack, all the schools have been under lock and key. All the children have been at home, again emphasizing how insecurity affects education in the country.
Right, thank you, Bernard, for bringing us the update. We, of course, and as quickly as you can, what's the general sense in Kwara State? Is there anger at the government, or is it fear? What would you say is the general sense from the people that you've spoken with?
There's major concern amongst the citizens and indigenes of Kwara State. Like in many states where insecurity hits, it's been hitting the outskirts of the city center. So the villages where people are vulnerable and cannot protect themselves, this is where these are the places where these bandits, I call them spineless by the way, go in there, attack, defenseless people. So there is where it's felt the most. We got to Eruku village and we could actually we could feel it there. The people were living in fear, and then besides the fact that they had security presence, they now have to protect themselves. So you see so many people moving around with Dane guns, whatever means of protection they can give themselves. But it's different in the city center here. Here the people are majorly concerned because they have their relatives back in the local communities and the villages, but it's literally business as usual here in the city. However, there are concerns again because cases of insecurity, if it affects one, it affects all.
For bringing us update. Do stay safe. We'll hear from you in subsequent shows. And let's come back to the show now. Reshuffling of the cabinet, yes or no?
Well, no, that is not.
Not in general reshuffling of the cabinet. The defense ministers don't have a military background and the NSA also.
That is the truth about the governor. But that governor was in a very tough state during this period of banditry, and you realize that most of the kidnapping at that time originated from the criminal mining activities in those areas, and he had dealt with them and dealt with this situation for long. The president knows that.
Was he successful? Because he didn't win a second term.
You know, the president uses wisdom in appointing his ministers, and sometimes he would have looked at it and said, in the past we've had men and women who had military background or military training, and yet we have this level of insecurity bequeathed to him. So he must have thought that, let me change my own game. Whether it's working for him or not, it remains to be seen, because this is still in the game. The game is not over.
But he's changed service chiefs.
I know, but that is also because the minister is working with him. If there is a battle, and even a boxer, and it's a 15-round fight, he could have a fall in the fight, or he could be knocked down and stand up again. Doesn't mean that the fight is over. So that this spike has happened is not enough to disqualify him, because he's kept the country relatively safe in the first 2 years.
Okay.
So,
right. Thank you very much, Mr. Akatugba, for joining us. Thank you for audience. Welcome to Chukwemeka, Chuka Ochiama, Naimeka Opoto, Joshua Akbaranza. Thank you very much for your comments. We look forward to seeing you engaging with more of our content. As we'll be back again tomorrow. Do have a wonderful rest of the day. I am Olive Emodi.
And I'm Johansson. Thanking you for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.